I remember a friend of mine once told me a story that her and her friend went to a party. I think there was five of them. Five of them got invited to a party. I think it was a works do or something like that. It wasn't so much of the work do, but it was a guy invited them to a party. And when she got invited to this party, not one of those people speak to them or say hello to them. And this was the honest truth. This, not one of those women, what were there, or even the guys, there were guys there, would speak to them. Fair enough, I understand that you're a stranger at these parties. So the guy's mum said, and that's listen, you leave those girls there, you should talk to them. Not one of those people attempt to talk to her. Talk to them. This girl, she looked mixed, she was quarter biracial. A shade very light. They spoke to her, but never spoke to the other four. My two friends were black, yeah? Three of them were black. The other two were mixed. Or six of them, They talked to her, but never talked to the other five. Now, that's a bit wrong, that. And all of a sudden, they started looking, but these older women said hello to them, and they started speak to all of them. All the girls what were there would speak to them. Like my friend said, not one of them reached out to us, to the six of us, till one came over and started talking. Fair enough, I can understand that when you're in a place like that, people are not going to quit to talk to you. They don't know who you are. You're a stranger. The women talk to the five. The other one talked to the other one as well. What I didn't get was why. Why would one lady talk to that one particular lady, because she was a shade lighter, and not speak to the other five? That made me wonder that. And suddenly, as time goes at the party, they didn't got spoke to. The woman that came over to them and say hi to them and chat to all five of them. That was very nice. She was older. And then another two girls come in, but the other two women come in and started saying hello to them and start speak to them. But all of a sudden, when those two women said hello to the five of them, all of a sudden the rest started speaking. While she was at this party, they're having a good time and everything. They kept themselves to themselves, which I couldn't blame them. But the other girl, what was a lot lighter, they spoke to her. Then suddenly, the other two girls, the one that was tried to speak to the five of them, she spoke to my friend, but the other four said no. If you can't speak to us, why do you want to speak to us now? Then they started going on about, all of them started going, you get your hair nice and the cornrows and all that. They just weren't interested. And it's all because they were black, and the girl what they were talking was a bit lighter shade. And I think she said, if you can speak to me, why not speak to those four? Why don't you speak to those four? Because I'm with them. And that point was clear from then on. And that's the problem. That's the problem, you see. When you're in a situation like that, yeah, they look at you as if you've gone right out. To me, that's wrong. If you can't speak to one, don't bother speak to the other. That's totally wrong. But suddenly, all these women start coming over because a couple of young girls, the two ladies that came entering the door, started speaking to them, which was very nice of those ladies. Then the daughters her two daughters were speaking to them also. And a few girls started speaking to them. Then all of a sudden, the other set didn't speak to them, but all of a sudden they were coming over to them, started talking where you're from and this and that and blah, 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 talking about the ghetto and all. And they said, no, we live in residential areas. We don't live in a ghetto. And when she told me that, I was ever so glad. You see, when you're a person of color, when you're a black person, and when you're in a sort of, all white situation, you have to sort of humble yourself and watch, see and observe, and don't draw attention to yourself. Because maybe they were after that, but they didn't get it. And it's only when the mother said to her and the boyfriend said, listen, you can't leave them girls stringing out there. Go over and talk to them. But the guy that invited him started speaking to them for quite a bit. And then a friend, a mate, two of his mates were chatting them up. All of a sudden, these girls started getting a bit jealous. But then there was a guy who was biracial who was at the party. They didn't really give him the time of day. And it's only then that another guy was mixed. I think it was mixed race, started talking to them. And a black guy was speaking to them also. There were only few of those people. But in a white situation, which I have been in that situation myself, that I got invited to a party in a similar situation where they didn't speak to me, they didn't give me the time of day. And it's only suddenly that they started taking an interest in me and a friend of mine. And I tell her, I said, listen, you can't speak to me then. Why are you suddenly speaking to me now? You have a right to be suspicious. You have a right to be aware. And I can understand that and I can respect that. But what I didn't get, why come over and speak to me now, which you didn't do before, but suddenly you were speaking to me and speaking to my friend. That ain't right. If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. If you can't speak to me before you try to speak to me now, don't bother. Because that's a waste of time. And I noticed when my friend told me when she was at that party, her friend who was mixed race did not give them the time of day. Didn't speak to not one of them. You know what I mean? The other one, but he said, what's up with your friend? She's going to stand up because she's not interested in you. You didn't give her the time of day. Why she give it to you? She didn't even speak to them. And I think they realize these girls are making a mistake. Because I thought, you know what? They probably messed with the wrong bull, man. You know what I mean? Which I couldn't blame them for that. It's only then they realized and they apologized and started speaking, started asking about cornrow, this and cornrow. Why do you want to know about? Why don't you just say what you do for a living and tell them what they do for a living? And that was it. They're all working. They're decent. You know what I mean? We come from good stock. We're decent. So you don't believe what you read about us as people of color. Don't believe what you hear. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's one of those things. I said to my friend, just put it down to experience. Because I've been in a situation like that where, I've been in a situation like that where they didn't speak to me, they wouldn't give me the time of day. And I started to her, I said, Lord, if you can't say nothing nice to me, don't chat to me at all. If I'm going to be invited just there to be stand up like a statue, and no one speak to me as if I'm gone out of since. Don't speak to me because I look like I've gone out of fucking style. Well, I'm sorry, it's totally the opposite. But at the end of the day, I don't think I would ever want to be in a situation like that again. And I don't think those girls, my friend, and her mates want to be in that situation ever. Because they just totally ignored them. It's only in the end they started speaking to them. But you can't, at the end of the day, sometimes when he's come onto these invitations, it's better to turn around and decline and say no. Because it's better for you that way. It's a lot easier. Because then you get ignored. It's no good going somewhere where you're ignored. Because sometimes you're not white enough or your skin is not white enough or black enough and things like that. You know the story. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're better off stay where you are. It's all good, but it's just experience. It's just life here. It's one of those things.